Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the work session to order on October 6, 2021. Our first agenda item is bid recommendation for Avaya telephone system upgrade. Kevin Frost, you have the floor.
Good evening, Madam President. We're at the point where we need to upgrade our phone system, the software that's in it. We're going to go from 7.0 to 8.1. Typically not a big deal, but we need to now comply with 2 federal laws that have been passed in the last 18 months. It's Ray Baum's Act, I believe, I think it's Megan's. I've attached sheets on those for information on that, but that's essentially, it's Avaya Secure 911. And the first piece says that on a enterprise phone system, many cases you press 9 and then you dial. You can't have that anymore if you're going to hit 911. You have to go 911. You can't hit 911. So that's the first part. The second part is that when you call, you must send the 911 center the location where you are in the building. So if you're on the 2nd floor in room 202, that has to be sent to them one center so they know exactly where you are. To accomplish this requires a significant technology upgrade from what we have now, and that's why this project is approaching. It's about $106,000. We've been on the Avaya system for about 12 years now. It's a good system. So we'll do the software upgrade, then we'll add the secure 911. We'll integrate that, we'll configure that, and then we'll bring the phone system up. We do not expect a lot of outage when we do this. There'll be some short downtime. The vendor is Converge One. Actually, they're out of Bloomington, Minnesota, but they have an office here in Rockville. So they will lead that project. They are master contractors on the state PBX, or the telephone contract. And we've been working with them for probably 5 years now. They do good work. Cost of the product is about $106,000, and it is funded in the current CIP. I'll take any questions, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Frost. I'll take questions from the council. Councilman DeWalt, do you have any questions?
Madam President, Councilmember DeWalt is having trouble logging into the meeting.
Okay, we'll go to Councilman Smith. Do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam President.
Councilman Les? Councilman Les, are you there?
He just sent me a text and said he's trying to log on as well.
Okay, we'll move to Councilman Signor.
Kim, can you send him the link again?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Frost, I know you explained it though, but I'm still a little confused. So you're saying this upgrade would be for the telephones inside the city hall, or city phones, or?
It'll be all our phones.
Okay.
Every building we have, our whole campus. So we have a centralized, the main phone servers are in City Hall, but they're connected to all our buildings by fiber. And so this will be every phone we have.
Got you. So the process for someone outside, like a regular citizen, they call 911. That call will still go to Prince George County 911 dispatcher, and that dispatcher will screen the call and send it to LPD dispatcher to respond to the call.
That is correct. That's how that would work.
Okay, this is just an upgrade for the phones that the city own. Okay. All right. Okay, I was a little confused.
Yeah, and it's also part of the the bigger upgrades at the 911 center called Next Generation 911. So this kind of integrates with that, where you get the specific location of building, because you don't normally get that. And if you were to dial 911 from the City Hall, it would just say, give the address at City Hall. Now it's going to actually say the person calling is in room 222.
Okay. But for regular citizens still got to go through the screening process.
Yeah, this does not impact any of our citizens.
All right.
It's
Thank you.
internal.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Since Councilman Smith, since Councilman Les and DeWalt are not on with us, they can.
I'm on.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Mr. Frost?
No, we're talking about the upgrade, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Kevin, how often do we anticipate an upgrade to our telephone system? What's the
We upgrade the
spacing on
system
it?
about for every 3 to 4 years. Now, this is a major upgrade.
Okay,
This isn't just some patching. This is a major upgrade.
right. So it jumped out at me. And my question that follows is, how are we doing for security surrounding this new upgrade? Since it is a major upgrade. I'm always worried about security. So are you, I know, I apologize.
Yeah, so the security on this upgrade is not it's not that big a deal. You know,
Okay.
because we're protecting on the front end. Now, there's a second part to the upgrade, which I don't know you will see, but once this happens, we are actually going to upgrade our carrier. So
Okay.
right now, we're on what's called a PRI. That's how we connect to the outside world. We are moving to go to SIP. SIP is that is internet based. Once we go to that, then we will have 2 firewall routers that will be part of that connection.
Okay, thank you. That I appreciate that. That's it, Madam President.
Thank you. If Councilman DeWalt is not on, he can submit his questions to Mr. Frost. We'll move on to the next agenda item. It's a bid recommendation for citywide concrete repair. Brian Lee, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, Madam President, Mayor Moore, and council members. This project is for the construction and repair of concrete sidewalks, ADA compliant pedestrian ramps, and concrete curbing at various locations throughout the city of Laurel. Funding for this project is provided in the FY 2022 CIP reauthorization of ordinance number 1971 in the amount of $75,988.82 allocated for project curb and gutter improvements and $89,588.11 allocated for project sidewalk improvements. It is recommended that the mayor and city council award the project in the amount of $95,000 to NZI Construction Corporation, a certified minority business enterprise and a Prince George's County-based small business located in Beltsville, Maryland. NZI was selected by Prince George's County after a competitive bidding process for Prince George's County contract number 932A-HF/D for asphalt resurfacing and related roadway improvements. As done previously, the Department of Public Works will be able to ride the county contract for unit pricing. NZI has satisfactorily completed several projects for the city within the years 2012 to 2021. They have consistently been on time and on budget. I am prepared to answer any questions that you may have at this time. I couldn't hear you, Madam President.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes. I was just saying, Councilman DeWalt, are you on with us?
Madam
Councilman?
President, he is not on at the moment. I
Okay.
don't think he's going to be able to join us.
Okay. Councilman Smith.
No questions, Madam President.
Councilman Les?
I can't hear, Madam President.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
I apologize. So I need to remind ourselves and the public every year, we're on a quarter city review, is that correct? Where we look at a quarter of the city every year for sidewalks, is that correct?
Yes, that's about how much we complete every year.
Right. And you know, we're unique amongst many municipalities in that the city of Laurel does not charge a front foot benefit charge for streets and for sidewalks. We pay all of it, correct?
That's correct as far as I'm aware.
Okay, so geez, that's good news to the taxpayer. We're paying for it out of their tax dollars, and that's good news. And I truly mean that, because I've been to places where you got to pay, if they repair your street, you got to pay for the repair. If you're on a corner, you're in real trouble. So again, I appreciate the efforts of DPW. And I know you guys do a good job in assessing what has to be done each year. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Signor.
Yeah, a couple of questions. You mentioned like a couple of prices. You said price for the sidewalks is one price and the price for the gutter. Then you say award the contract for $95,000. So I'm a little confused. Is that three different prices or that's just one price for both items?
No, council member, the numbers that I quoted are what's available from the CIP for these types of maintenance and repairs in the CIP 2022 budget. The $95,000 is actually the cost of this particular contract.
Okay. And have we identified the streets and sidewalks we're gonna work on?
We have the initial streets, yes. As always, there may be some more that comes up, but we are ready to roll with the streets that we're ready to go for.
Okay, can you send me the streets you're gonna be working on this time?
I don't have it at this moment, but I'll get them to you.
Yeah. I'm saying whenever you get it, yeah. I didn't expect to get it to you right now. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. If council agrees, this contract will be awarded at our next mayor and city council meeting that will be held on October the 13th at 6 p.m. I need to go back up to agenda item number 1 because I didn't say that if the council agrees, we will award this contract at our next mayor and city council meeting on October the 13th at 6 p.m. And a correction, if anyone has any questions, those questions should be directed to the city administrator. Thank you. Moving on to our third agenda item is fleet acquisition 2023 Freightliner commercial rear loader. Mr. Lee, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, Mayor Mo and council members. The Department of Public Works is requesting approval to purchase 125 cubic yard refuse truck to be used as a part of the DPW fleet to deliver essential city services. This vehicle will replace vehicle number 24, a 2004 recycling truck that has exceeded its lifespan by several years. This acquisition will not increase the vehicle fleet. Prior to assembling a bid package for the purchase of this vehicle, the department contacted several agencies to inquire if there were any current contracts for models that equal or exceeded our needs. We were successful in finding a suitable refuse truck as a member of Sourcewell, a contracting company that specializes in finding fleet and product services for municipal and state governments. The successful bid is through Grand Turk Equipment Company of Baltimore, Maryland, under refuse collection vehicle contract number 0912919-LEG. Funding is included in the FY 2022 CIP reauthorized funds for fleet acquisition project. The cost of this vehicle is $208,376.80. I'll entertain any questions.
Councilman Smith, do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam President.
Councilman Signor,
No question.
Councilman Laz? Can't hear you, Councilman Laz.
Is that better?
Yes,
Keep
much
pushing
better.
this button up here. Okay, Brian, since we're gonna not increase the fleet, I appreciate that. Are we gonna wholesale the truck out and it'll be, I'm sure it'll be grabbed up by somebody who's looking for parts, is that correct?
That's correct. Actually, we just joined a new public service auction
Good.
site for governments to get a better price.
Okay, and what we see is your jurisdictions that can't afford a new truck will try and grab one of these trucks that's may have exceeded its lifespan, but it's still got some useful parts, and they'll use that for parts on their truck, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. If the council agrees, we will award this contract at our next mayor and city council meeting on Monday, October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Our next agenda item is bid recommendation, citywide traffic and parking study. Mr. Lee, you have the floor again.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, Mayor Mo and council members. The Department of Public Works is requesting approval to procure the services of an architectural and engineering firm to perform a citywide traffic and parking study. The scope of the study entails conducting a comprehensive citywide study to establish strategic street and roadway priorities, determine the need for and types of additional traffic control devices, traffic volume and flow, and assess whether existing street parking locations have negatively impacted traffic, restrict the line of sight, or create hazardous conditions to pedestrians and other roadway users. The study will include two parts. Part one will concentrate on parking assessments and recommendations for the existing parking demand, usage, and recommendations pertaining to the Unified Land Development Code, revisions, vehicle restriction policies, meter/permit parking, and/or new parking facilities. Part two will provide a comprehensive traffic safety study, speed study, traffic calming recommendations, existing roadway conditions and characteristics, assessment findings, and recommendations for potential mitigation. Funding for this study is provided in the FY 2021 CIP Citywide Traffic/Parking Analysis in the amount of $250,000. The department requested proposals from the 3 architecture and engineering firms under contract by the city, of which 2 submitted completed bids. Century Engineering submitted a proposal in the amount of $190,200, and KCI Technology submitted a proposal in the amount of $192,005. Upon review, it is recommended that the mayor and city council approve the proposal submitted by Century Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $190,200. Century Engineering has highly qualified personnel and a very experienced traffic engineering team that will be assigned to this project. A report as well as a presentation to the mayor and city council will be presented as a part of their final project delivery. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Councilman Les, do you have any questions?
Madam President, I'm fine with this.
Councilman Signor?
Yes, one question. How long will this process take? You got an idea?
I have no idea at this time. We'll try to push them to be expedient. I will have to get back to you with a general time frame.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Smith?
No questions, Madam President.
Thank you. If the council agrees, we will award this contract at our next mayor and city council meeting on Monday, October the 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Madam President,
Yes.
we may, I need to talk to the director as well as the CA and the deputy tomorrow. One of the things, we may come back with a memo. As you're well aware, we allocated 250,000. They're coming back with 190. What I don't want to do is, if there is money that's needed for something, some count, whatever it may be, I'd rather the council give that authorization where they'll allow them to spend up to, 225,000 or something, so that there is some flexibility in if money is needed for to get the right program. To get the right counts or whatever it may be needed as we move along with this. So that I just, I wanted to throw that out to the council, see how that felt. We usually do that with a lot of our contracts where, it's usually an extra 10 or 15% in case there is some things. If not, they've got to come back through the whole process again. And I just didn't want to see that happen. So I'll answer any questions the council may have, but that would kind of be my recommendation.
Okay. Council have any questions?
Madam President, it's Mike
Yes.
Les. This is a crucial study. It's been called by some council persons for a long time. And I agree with the mayor. I don't think we want to handicap the process because they get to the $192,000, say, whoops, we're still involved in the study and it's going to cost X number of dollars more. So I would be in favor of adopting the threshold, the upper threshold, as the mayor has suggested at, let's say 325,000. Since there was, 300 and, what was the total amount was allocated, Brian?
250,000, Councilman.
250,000. So as opposed to 192, I would suggest an upper threshold on this contract of 225,000. And then if they need more money at that point, they could come back to the council. Okay, but I don't want to stop progress and I don't want to stop the study because this is a crucial study for the future of this city. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions? Okay. Our next agenda item is bid recommendation, employee benefit insurance. Lisa Woods, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, Mayor, and City Council members. Before you is a memo dated September 17th, 2021, recommending your approval of the contract for the employees' health, dental, and vision insurance contract for the service year of November 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2022. The city used the NFP group to conduct a bidding process. They contacted 4 health insurance carriers, which included Cigna, CareFirst, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Kaiser, United Health Insurance, and our current carrier, Aetna Insurance. Cigna, CareFirst, and United declined to bid. Aetna responded with a 15.4% increase, which NFP was able to negotiate to a 10% increase. Kaiser's bid was competitive, but with a structural different model of care, Aetna is more beneficial to our employees' continue of care. The 2021 dental and vision contract price is guaranteed for 2 years, and this will be the second year of the contract. The funding is available in the FY 2022 adopted general operating budget under the employee insurance selection section line item 53405. I respectfully request approval of award to the recommended bidder Aetna, which is our current carrier for the health, dental, and vision insurance coverage rates with an increase of 10% for the health insurance. I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Smith, do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam President.
Councilman Signor,
No questions.
Councilman Les?
I'll just, Madam President, I don't have a question. I just note that, as we're all aware, prices on everything are going sky high right now. Just look at the gas pump for your gas for your vehicle. But more importantly is what I've been reading, and I still do a lot of reading in newspapers, maybe too much. The medical profession is now starting to charge for the virus costs. And what people don't realize is they were eating a lot of the costs. The government was eating costs, and the medical profession was eating costs. And they've still got to pay doctors and pay nurses, and thank God they're back to doing discretionary surgery now to save lives. But again, I think that what's been negotiated is equitable in terms of what's going on in the world we live in. And I want to thank Lisa and her group that have reviewed this and have picked what I think is a health and dental insurance component, which is to the benefit of our employees. And again, I thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. If the council agrees, we will award this bid recommendation at our next mayor and city council meeting on Monday, October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m.
Madam President, just
Yes.
for clarification, because I had to look on my calendar, the holiday is Monday, the 11th, so we'll be meeting on Wednesday, the 13th.
Right.
Okay, so a
Yeah,
correction.
so I had to check my calendar, so it's the 13th, but it's Wednesday. I just didn't want to confuse anybody.
Okay, thank you for that correction.
Okay, thank you.
Our next agenda item is ordinance number 1987. Robert Love, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Madam President, Mayor, and council members. Before you is ordinance number 1987, as required by the City of Laurel Code, providing legislation to amend Laurel City Code, Chapter 20, Land Development and Subdivision Regulations, Article 1, Zoning, Sections 20-1.3, 0.7, 0.11, 0.12, 20-2.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.7, 0.8, 20-3.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 20-4.4, 20-5 and 0.6, 20-6.16, 20-7.8, 20-9.5, 20-10.5, 20-13.11, 20-15.2, 20-15.3.4, 20-25.4, 0.5, 0.6, and 0.7, 20-26.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.5, 0.13, then 20-42.5. All right, this is the fourth phase of the Unified Land Development Code update. The proposed changes would update several definitions, yard regulations, municipal fines, shared parking, commercial and industrial use tables. The bulk of the changes are to update the annotated code of Maryland, titles Article 23A to the local government article and Article 66B to the land use article to correspond with the state. Finally, we update sections with the former department name of the Department of Community Planning and Business Services, and we replaced them with the current department names of the Department of Economic and Community Development and the Department of the Fire Marshal and Permit Services as it corresponds to that department's duties. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Liz, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Councilman Signor?
No question, just a comment. Thank you, Mr. Love, for the hard work on that. I was reading all that stuff. I was getting confused, so I'm trusting that you guys can put us in the right direction.
Councilman Smith?
No questions, Madam President.
Thank you. If everyone agrees, introduction and first public hearing will be at our next mayor and city council meeting on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Our next agenda item is ordinance number 1988. Michelle Saylor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, council members, Mayor Mo. So this is our second amendment to the FY 2022 operating budget. At this time, there is no net increase to the budget. It is still at $49,349,195, and of course, 12.6 million of that is from our ARPA funds. But on page 2 of the ordinance, you can see where the changes are. There's a decrease to the clerk to the council budget. After going through the printout of the budget, I discovered that we had 3 entries for the MML dues. So we're going to remove this one from the clerk's budget and transfer it to the election budget. After speaking with Ms. Rao and working with her on a couple things regarding the mailing of absentee ballots and the ballots themselves, we feel as though we may need this additional funds in the election budget. The other transfers within the operating budget is a reduction to the city administrator's budget. These funds were available at the time that Mr. Goddard had retired, as well as there was an administrative position in that office that retired. When we put the budget together, Mr. Goddard, Ms. Crook, and Ms. Pulley were all budgeted in the city administrator's budget. And so we need to move funding to the Department of Economic and Community Development for the deputy director in that department. And as we fine-tuned the job description for the dedicated HR officer in my office, and comparing some other job descriptions and responsibilities, we needed additional funds for that position, funds additional from what we originally budgeted. So again, this is a net change of 0 to the budget. We're just transferring funds, available funds within these department codes. And that's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman Les, do you have any questions? I can't hear you, Councilman Les.
I'm fine with this.
Councilman Signor.
No questions.
Councilman Smith.
No questions, Madam President.
Thank you. If everyone agrees, introduction and first public This will be introduction and first public hearing at our next mayor and city council meeting on Wednesday, October the 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Our next agenda item is ordinance number 1989, a text amendment number 260. Mr. Love, you have the floor.
Thank you, and good evening once again, Madam President, Mayor, and City Council members. Before you is ordinance number 1989 as required by the City of Laurel Code providing legislation to amend the Laurel City Code, Chapter 11, Planning and Development, Article 3, Affordable Housing Program, Section 11-52, Existing Multifamily, to update the Affordable Housing Program. This section applies to multifamily buildings that contain 25 dwelling units or less. And we are proposing the following conditions to go along with this: that the real property owners that meet the criteria will be eligible for a tax credit of 50% of the real estate tax per unit designated as an affordable unit. That the tax credit received per unit shall be deducted from each affordable unit's monthly rent. That all affordable units in the program shall maintain current property maintenance and fire code standards. That all affordable units in the program shall provide air conditioning and heat per Chapter 18 of the Laurel City Code. That each contributing property will participate in the program for 3 years, at which time the property will be reevaluated for a renewal into the program. And then lastly, that each contributing property shall submit a list of the affordable units in the program, and that the monthly rental price of the affordable units yearly to the Department of Budget and Personnel Services. And myself and Director Saylor are here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Councilman Les, do you have any questions?
Madam President, if I might, before the council say just a few comments.
Yes. Go ahead.
First, I want to thank the council. As you're well aware, you all have been very involved with the affordable housing and how we can get more affordable housing in the city. We do have a program already. I think ordinance 1989 and 1990 will allow us to add more affordable housing units. And what we tried to do was to be able to do this so that we could do affordable housing around the city, not in one location. We thought that was very important to be able to target certain areas or work with those that are interested in trying to do affordable housing within their developments. The other piece of this that I want to remind everybody is that as we do this, as we do tax credits, we kicked around a lot of different things and ended up with the tax credits. That does affect our operating budget. So we need to make sure that we have a program that's going to be up and running, that it's going to be followed by those that we are trying to work with in the community for affordable housing units. And we've got to make sure that we watch the budget as well when we do these tax credits. And I'm sure Ms. Saylor may have more. So I just wanted to point that out. I want to acknowledge as well Director Love and Director Saylor and several others, Christian and Luann and Sarah were all involved, but this took quite a bit of time, and I just wanted to acknowledge that and their efforts. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Les, do you have any questions?
I'm fine with this.
Mr. Signor?
Yeah, I got just a couple of questions, maybe one question. I got the email that you guys sent me back. Thank you for information, though. What are we doing in the process trying to recruit any of these units that have 25 or less dwelling units to be in the program? I know you said that's not they got to apply for it, but what are we doing as a city trying to recruit them to get into the program?
I think if I might, once we get this adopted, the council agrees, then we will go out to those multifamily and let them know that this program is in place and whether they want to take part in it. We're not going to be able to do everybody, but we're going to be able to, what we feel is make sure that it's equitable all over the city, quite frankly, in different areas of the city. I'm not sure if that answers the question or not.
Yeah, a little bit. I think you add more to the question that I had. So we, like, what criteria are we? I know you got to be 25 or less. I don't know how many apartments, units we have in the city to fit that criteria. But let's say, for example, this conversation, we got 20 of them, and we can't do all 20 of them. How will we eliminate the other 10? We want to say we only do 10. What process will we go by to say we only can do 10?
Well, from my standpoint, I think, and again, we need to be very cautious because I'm sure the attorney will tell us. But let's just say we have we have 20 units we want to do around the city, and one apartment complex comes in and says they want to do 20. Well, that's not going to work, in my view. We're trying to make sure that we put them in other places around the city. So we'd say there might be 5 or there might be 10, and see if they're interested in that, and then see what else comes in, or try to send letters to the management companies, of which Mr. Love has talked to several of those management firms before. And we would again do that as well, just to advertise. And there's going to be some that aren't going to be interested, quite frankly.
Right.
But this is really an opportunity for us to, in my view, take some of the apartment complexes that have been around for years that we haven't been able to do things for because they're not a big complex, to work with them. That's why we kept it at 25 or less.
Yeah. Well, one more question while we at it. The 65 and over for senior citizen and ones with disability, that's the state criteria, 65 and older, or that's something that we got to follow the state?
So I guess if we could just jump to Ordinance 1990. Myself and Ms. Green and our revenue coordinator in my office, we all looked at the state code as referenced to us by MML, and our law, our 1990, has to be in coordination with the state law. So there was no straightforward affordable housing rental tax credit just for those with modest or low income. This was the one that we had to use.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I just wanted confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Smith, you have any questions?
No questions, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. If everyone agrees, introduction and first public hearing will be at our next mayor and city council meeting on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Our next agenda item is ordinance number 1990. Ms. Saylor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, council members, and Mayor Mo. So again, Ordinance 1990 is companion to Ordinance 1989 as allowed by the state of Maryland, annotated code, tax property article, section 9-219. Ordinance 1990 proposes to add section 16-12 to the Laurel City Code, chapter 16, article 1, to establish a new real property tax credit for property owners of rental buildings with 25 units or less who provide reduced rent for tenants 65 years or older or disabled tenants. I'm sorry, I have to make a correction in the title of 1990. It should be 25 units or less, and I had written less than 25 units. So we'll make that correction and get that to Ms. Rao. So Ordinance 1990 establishes the process. There would be an application process. The tax credit would be 50% of the calculated tax per unit based on the tax bill. And the property owners would have to recertify and apply each year. And of course, they would have to meet all the criteria, and fire marshal and permit services would need to sign off that they meet all the Laurel City Code for safety and the other items that Mr. Love had mentioned. That's in Ordinance 1989. So that's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman Smith, do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam President. Thank you.
Councilman Signor.
No questions.
Councilman Les?
I'm fine with this, Madam President.
Thank you. If everyone agrees, introduction and first public hearing at our next mayor and city council meeting on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Our next agenda item is resolution number 8-21. Mayor Mo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I think on the resolution that was passed, sponsored by the council, Juneteenth, making it an official holiday. Within that document, it stated that a planning committee should be established. So we have put together some information that is in resolution 821. It gives you the resolution, and then there is an outline of the committee. And it's pretty self-explanatory unless somebody needs me to go over it. I do want to thank Councilman Sidnor, who offered some information, as well as Councilmember Smith, who also offered information for this resolution. So this just follows what was passed and mandated by the council to establish a Juneteenth Freedom Day celebration planning committee. And the reason we did it this way is we felt that this is an ongoing committee, and council should take the action to formalize that. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman Signor, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Councilman Les? Can't hear you, Councilman Les.
I'm fine with this, Madam President.
Councilman Smith?
No questions, Madam President.
Thank you. If everyone agrees, introduction and first public hearing will be at our next mayor and city council meeting on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Our next agenda item is resolution number 9-21. Mayor Mo, you have the floor.
Same with resolution 9-21. We did put this in a City of Laurel executive policy like we did one other, and ask for council's input as well as council's action on this. The policy itself needs to be read over by council, and if they have questions, I'll answer those. It's pretty self-explanatory. As you know, we have started working. Mr. Goddard worked on the getting all of the information, the history, the old city minutes. We found out that some of the alleys had already been closed by council action years ago. We've been able to work with a survey company and really make some decisions on, now that we know who owns the alleys, most of them, I should say. There is roughly 8 alleys. Let me get to the when you look at the policy, it gives you the purpose. This is one way to establish a uniform policy regarding alleyways in the city. Also gives you the objectives and some definitions of the alleyways. We've already done a naming of alleyways, so this does not go into effect with this policy. There's ordinances that are linked to city alleys that we put in this. And then there are dedicated alleyways within the policy that the city uses. It's roughly about eight alleys that we use. Those are the 8 alleys that within the policy that we should work on first. And some of those, one of those in particular, as you're all well aware, we've already started on. This will require funding as we move forward with this. This will not be an easy fix. The alleyways, in some cases, will require substantial money. I don't know that as a fact, but I'm just knowing what I've seen with just the one alley we've done. It gets expensive. They've gone ahead and done some boring in the alleyways. But it also gives a criteria for establishing ownership, criteria for repair and maintenance of city-owned alleys, criteria for repair and maintenance of non-city-owned alleys, and then a currently used by the city already, as I said, and then there's an exemption regarding this, which, as I stated, has nothing to do with 2021-01, which is the alley namings in there. So we felt that the best way to do this was to make sure that council reviewed the policy, that it's put into effect for the future. I'm sure down the road, maybe there'll need to be policy changes, but right now, the policy itself and a lot of the work took quite almost 2 years since we've been doing this, and Mr. Goddard did it almost, it seemed like, a full time, just providing this information. So I want to acknowledge that, but I think the policy goes a long way. I want to thank Councilmember Les for his input as well on this. So I'll answer any questions, and if the council has any. Thank you, Madam.
Councilman Smith, do you have any questions?
No questions, Madam President.
Councilman Les?
let me just say this, as the new council moves forward with this, the mayor, this is an ambitious and undertaking. The mayor has sort of touched on the cost, but there's other things to be considered in terms of you can't use highway user taxes to maintain alleys generally because they're not wide enough. There's some constraints, even if they're in use for common use by adjoining property owners. You got to get people's signatures on the line, on the dotted line. So again, this is an ambitious undertaking, and it will be an admirable undertaking when it's completed, because I think we'll have a better place in terms of how we maintain alleys, what they're used for. And I want to thank the mayor for having Bill work on this. I know Bill and I had some discussions on the telephone about some specific alleys, and that he wasn't aware of. There's, as the mayor said, there's already abandoned alleys in the city of Laurel, and there's some that are not abandoned that are no longer in place. So there's a lot of work to be done here, and it will be an admirable undertaking for the city. And I look forward to seeing what the city fathers in the future come up with. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman Signer?
Yeah, I have a few questions, but most of the questions I probably ask offline because there's a lot of them. But just to get some highlights, that pretty much I see that we have a total of 25 alleys, and some of them are private and some are public. But the ones that public, I'm assuming, the ones that's private that we city use, that mean the city could like go back and forth there with our refuse trucks and things of that nature.
Yeah.
That's why we are assisting that way. Okay. And then
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll just follow up with some emails before we next few more questions. But thank you. I think it's a good job though. Thanks.
Thank you. If everyone agrees, introduction and first public hearing at our next mayor and city council meeting on Wednesday, October 13th, 2021 at 6 p.m. If there is no further business to come before the council, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.